Hi, welcome again to episode 3 of Self Care Sunday with your girls again, Tara and Bella. How y'all doing?
As you guys can see, there's no guest today.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
It's given that Will Smith song, just the two of us.
I know that's
We
right.
can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
You and I.
You and I.
It's a vibe actually. Cheers.
This is how it always is. So it's kind of like nothing is really happening.
Yeah, but like they say, never let them in on what you're doing. Keep the people guessing. So it's fun how we've had guests for the last episodes, but now it's just new default settings.
Yes, and speaking of the last episode, we apologize to those who were expecting it to be visual.
Yes.
What had happened was that things just didn't work out that way, and we decided to just give you the audio. But this time around, we back.
Sometimes videos, sometimes podcast vibes, right?
Can we normalize that?
Like normalize.
No, I'm asking.
Switching it up,
I'm
right?
asking our people because they were like, "Where's the video?" No,
Well, we're touched, and we like the fact that you guys like to see our faces, and sometimes just appreciate the visual with the audio. But please, we want you guys to keep on letting us know. Just keep the engagement going. Let us know if you prefer the video. You don't mind the just podcast audio vibes every now and then. But by the way, right, today is a special day. The day that we're filming this episode happens to be our mama's birthday. So we are toasting.
And our
to her.
mama's one
Our
of the
mom is
biggest
like
fans
our biggest fan,
of
obviously.
this podcast. So
Monkey no fine, but your mama like her, like they say. Our mom is like our mom is our biggest supporter. She's the best, and we really locked out in the mom avenue. And cheers to you, mama. We love you.
even though it's going to be
Coming
in a
out,
week,
yeah.
but by the time this video is airing, it will be a week since your birthday. But you know how we do in this
celebrate for a week in
household. We
this house.
celebrate for a week. So cheers to you. We hope you've had the best birthday week so far.
Yes.
And we love you so much. And we're toasting to your
I put my glass down
beautiful
because I
life.
didn't do it.
Cheers to Mama.
Yes.
And cheers to Uncle Ernie for being
Yes.
the
All right. The third episode in a row.
the main what do you call it? The main support
Pusher,
system
yes.
of this podcast. We're so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course for all you beautiful people who are watching right now. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay,
So B, it's just us. Our regular girly chat. What
why
we
are you
chatting about
dramatic today? Okay, so as I always love to do, I feel like today you should tell the people what we're going to talk about.
Yes, okay. So what had happened was that towards the end of August / beginning of September, we kid you guys not, for like 2 weeks straight of our morning devotion, because we do morning devotion every day, for 2 weeks or at the very least
That's
10
a lot
days
more.
straight, the topic that kept reoccurring was that of self-control, self-discipline, self-control, whichever one you want to call it, but it just kept coming up, and we're like, nah, this is God telling us that September's topic is the importance of self-control. And
Yes.
so here we are. Did you guys know self-control is self-care? I was mind blown when I read this.
I know, right? That was
I
an
did see
interesting
that
and fun
coming.
spin. Yeah, I love it. It's actually true. It's actually true
I did
because,
see
like
that
you
coming.
said, that is a new perspective I've had in the last couple of weeks, where the theme of self-control has just become so. Because one thing about God, right, when He wants to pass a message to you, He will keep on drumming it in. He will make sure you get it.
Bruh.
He doesn't even. He will find a way to put it on the billboard. There was a still small voice.
There was
Every and
no
anything.
way we could have missed
There was no
because
way.
he made it that obvious.
Yes, and like you said, I've never thought about self-control being such a self-care tool, if I can call it that, as much as I have recently, because self-control, just like boundaries, funny enough, which was the last thing we talked about, is sort of like it's like a defense for your spirit.
It's a gate.
It's exactly. It's like a defense. It's something that you use to keep the BS away. It's something that you put up. In fact, because like you said, self control is discipline, right? And discipline is something that definitely profits you. It may not feel good in the moment, but it always, in the end, gives.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So I feel like we should start by talking about what exactly self control is. That's a
Yeah.
good place to start. Because self control, what does it mean? I saw a definition of this website. It said self control is the ability to control your thoughts, your actions, and your utterances.
Yeah, sure. It's serious business.
Because basically, many of us in life, we just go. You feel like you want to do something, you just do it. Something pops in your head, you just say it. We just,
Spontaneity.
yeah. And nothing, not that we're knocking spontaneity, it's good to be spontaneous. However, sometimes people are spontaneous at the detriment of their own well-being, and that's why we're here today.
Ooh, sure. Listen, I was like, yes,
God.
Okay.
So, um, should we talk about it from a personal angle, or I don't know?
No, always, because that's the point of Self Care Sunday, right?
Yes.
We always just want to check in and catch up with you guys, obviously from a personal angle, because it's our experiences, it's life, it's from our own perspective. So we definitely just want to talk about self control as we know it, as we understand it, as we've been experiencing it. Because like you said to begin with, self control has become a different thing than we ever had. Like it's taken on a different meaning and perspective for us lately. Because, like you said, I never really used to see it from this angle of it is self care too.
Mhm.
Do you get? Because a lot of times when we think of self care, we can think of it from the more surface candles and a bath and just like
Absolutely.
all the cliche things that we associate self care with. But self care is spiritual, it's deeper. And what we just want to basically touch on some of the main aspects of self care that have,
Self-control.
sorry, of self control that have been impressed upon our hearts in this season.
Okay. So let's start with.
Hit the first one.
Oh, come on! I
No?
wanted to say let's start with you.
Okay.
You know me, I really enjoy this podcast because I get to get in my interviewer talk show host
Yeah.
bag.
Okay.
So I wanted to just start with you. Tell me about your experience of what self control means, where you were lacking before, and where you are now.
Sure, that's okay. So
It's packed, yeah?
it really
No,
is.
girl, I'm a
But
super
I'll
listener.
compartmentalize it,
Yes.
and I will just start with even the trivial, simple thing like self control lately for me is having a glass of wine, right? Versus
The
having
whole
a
bottle.
yeah, like in general, obviously the whole bottle is overkill, right? But like I mean, even having two or three or four, self control is having one for me personally because with self care, with self control, with discipline, with goals, we're all different, right? So we should try not to, like we had a conversation the other day, be quote unquote legalistic about certain things. What works for you doesn't work for someone else. For someone, discipline is sobriety and not drinking at all.
Exactly.
But for me, where I am right now, self control, which is discipline, is doing a lot less. And in this case, one glass, for instance, right? Because self control for me just means truly being in control of myself, of the things I say, like you said. Because I, I feel like in the past, and maybe obviously it's still a work in progress, but I tend to overshare sometimes.
I feel like we all do.
Yeah, but I can overshare, and it's always important to identify your triggers and your weak places.
Mm.
So if when you drink, for instance, the alcohol, like they call it Dutch courage in quotes, or maybe it makes you more like in general.
You said twerking on people.
Not even that, but like in general, a lot of people don't drink because they feel like they lose control of themselves, which is so valid. So if when you drink, your inhibitions are lowered, which is the case for most
Normal
red-blooded human
humans.
beings, right? Exactly. So know your limits. The same way when you're driving a car, there are speed limits in place for your safety. Always know your limits. And that is that's why I've been really,
That's a
really
powerful word, limit.
yeah, know your limits. Again, like we overflogged and said so much in the last episode, your boundaries. Know when to draw the line. Know when to know when you stay in control of something. You get so for instance, I just saw this video the other day where the guy was like, coffee. He talked about how it's not just like hard drugs and like crack, cocaine that is like that's like you being an addict. He dragged coffee in there. He dragged we coffee lovers.
Sheldon much.
Exactly, but like, exactly that episode of Big Bang Theory where I don't know if anybody that but where Sheldon was like, I promised my mom I wasn't going to come to California and do drugs. And he was talking about coffee. But literally coffee, like things, any and everything, anything that is the boss of you is an addiction. Do you get? So even literally the way like I've been reading this book, The Compound Effect, and the guy was like, every 3 or so months, he does a fast from anything that he feels. He just wants to prove to that thing that he's the boss. So whether it's his favorite snack or wine or coffee or a TV show,
Or person.
yeah, he just goes like, okay, no, I'm setting this down. You get so in that same vein, right? That is really one of the things that self control has been like. Hey, is there any area where you're not in control? Ooh, sure. So is there any area where you're not in control? Yeah.
No.
Now I'm putting
The
spotlight
depth
on
is
you.
depth thing. Okay, so for me, yeah, self control. I thought I had it, honestly. No, like, since we're keeping it real, I always thought I was that person.
You're not born with self control.
No, but I always, you know, that thing they say, like, in every human being,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of ego, pride operating.
Yes.
So for me, my own pride and ego
Yeah.
was in telling myself that I was good when it came to self.
Okay.
But
Sure.
I don't know if you guys noticed or if you follow us on social media, you might have seen a post about it. Man's been dragged up in the church house lately. And as we were dragged to the church house, we were also dragged in the church house. So the dragging has been real.
There's been a
And
drag.
I was, in fact,
You're taken aback.
on multiple days, different sermons, the pastors, we did a training program, discipleship training program. In all of these like events, I've been like the dragging has been real.
Yes.
And
And I call that.
I had to confront myself. And one of the things I realized in all this self confrontation, peeling back the layers, telling yourself the truth about certain things, one of the things I had to confront is that my self control game is not as epic or as peak as I thought it was. In fact, because like you rightly said now,
Yes.
having a drink, for example.
Yes.
Let's just say girlie likes to turn
This
up.
is the real.
Yeah, girlie likes to turn up.
The real, no Adrian.
And should I say yes? Another important thing that must be stressed is that self-control is a gift of the Holy Spirit, a fruit of the Holy Spirit, rather a fruit. So when the Holy Spirit is operating in your life, if you don't have self-control, He will show you. And that's what happened to me, guys.
Spirit.
Yes, I was shown how much more I need to improve when it comes to self control. Pleasure seeking, lust. Sorry, even anger. Okay, yeah, anger. Because I used to feel like I'm this person that I can be very calm. And you can say and do anything and you just slide off. But no, I actually do have
Anger.
it's lurking all the way back,
Yes.
but it's there. I have a temper.
Okay.
And it might take more than the average temperamental person
Yes.
to get me there. But the point is that certain people, certain situations could actually bring it out.
Yes.
And I would just like, how dare you? Ah! You get. And
Yes.
I feel like the spending more time with God has really revealed to me how much more I need to work on cultivating the fruit of self control in my life.
Absolutely.
So, on that note, I'll swing it back to you and ask you how have you how have you been able to cultivate the fruit of self control in your life? Because the main thing that we need to stress is that as human beings, the frail, weak beings that we tend to be, we don't have self control on our own.
Yes.
So, sorry to shake your table, but if you're out there and you feel that you've got self control all handled, but yet you're not walking with the Spirit, you're not being led by God, your supposed self control will one day humble you. Can take it from me.
Absolutely.
I've been there. Because you know how people say, it could never be me?
Yes.
There are certain
It could always be you.
there are certain situations in life I've been pompous enough to say, it could never be me. It was me. I got there.
Yes. But funny enough, one of the areas that I have really, been humbled or, like you said, confronted about the need for more self-control is my mom. Because we're in an era of TMI, oversharing, and as a recovering people pleaser,
I'm sorry to laugh. Every episode
every
you mentioned
no, but
this.
because I used to
it was
be
bad.
it was bad. I used to be
Not for me though.
It's alright, just one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've always been that person that maybe in the bid to just get more comfortable, even with my own insecurities, because we're being all the way real. So I feel like sometimes when you overshare, it's out of insecurity.
Yes.
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 I love it. I can't stand you. But yeah, like when you overshare, it could be from a place of just wanting people to accept you more, validate you more, like you more. These are just all the things. And child, these are all things that were in my backpack of people pleasing. So child. It's alright. But
fine.
yeah, like just like literally putting a bridle over your mouth, because like they say, from the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks, and we're to guard our hearts, so our mouths will be saying nothing all the time. So as I've also put a barrier over my heart, it has put a barrier over my mouth, because now I'm just in that place where I'm like, say less actually. Do you get I'm trying to keep calm. It's hitting. Listen,
The word is
wording. The way it's wording.
Yes.
But yeah, like so that has been like literally my main area of, like you said, a drag, where I was like, okay, am I overcompensating for something? Am I doing too much? Am I saying too much? Do you get? So when I confronted myself about that and I told myself the truth, I was like, yeah, no, I need more control in that area. Another area that in the last couple of weeks slash months even, I've been really dragged about, and I've realized the need for more self-control is in my finances, because we don't talk about that enough, right? Again, I've just noticed that some of our more toxic traits, it's even a thing where they're like, oh, my toxic traits. And the toxic trait in quotes is something like you're like, let me make an excuse for
Man's
it.
made a song about it.
Funny.
Any money where I get, I go flex.
But the funny thing is that Cyrus is a real nigga because one time he was like, that's just the song version. Any money where I make, I dey invest.
No,
That's why
they
he's rich. Exactly. So if you like, Jucha, stop. So yes, that's my point. Like I've been dragged in that area of realizing that I need a lot more discipline when it comes to money because I keep on telling you how
Yeah.
I've learned that more from you. And just in general, it's just a wise finance principle
Absolutely.
to always save a little bit for quote unquote rainy day. And like we've been learning, sometimes God allows a season of abundance so that you are smart and
Yes.
save. And then in the season of drought, you're good. You're not like you get stressed and pressed. So I've been convicted in that area where I'm like, I don't need to prove a point, with the whole okay, yeah, I just want to and especially I feel like I should really say this, like when it comes to spending to look a certain way, that's so unwise. It's played. Let's allow it because it's different if you are, you want to spoil yourself or you want to even quote unquote splurge on something that is like helpful, that is you basically investing in yourself. Because I saw this thing, there's this entrepreneur that I respect and like, and I saw him talk about investing in your dream, not investing in your comfort. When you invest in your dream, it that investment you make will eventually comfort you, not the other way around. Don't invest in a night out. Don't invest in just the frivolous things. Just when you get money, you're already spending it. That thing we all see as a joke. My last 2K. No, like sometimes keep that last 2K away. So that's what's been happening to me personally, and I feel like we go through things as well so that we can pass it on and share it with anyone it can help. Because if you're in a repetitive cycle of always, spending money, then that's probably your cue to not spend all your money when you get it. Just save some and then you get be wise and more self-control with your spendings. Again, it ties to pleasure because that's we're in a very we're just in a very
Self-gratifying.
thank you. That's what I was looking for. The phrase I was looking for rather. Self-gratifying like time. We just want to like nobody wants the like pain of discipline. Nobody really wants that. You just want that self-gratification now. When it's very instant, I want it good and I want it now.
Came to enjoy.
Exactly, yeah. Like allow me to enjoy myself, allow me to flex. And that's valid. Obviously, we should all there's a time for everything basically because that's another aspect of self-control. Knowing the time for everything. Okay. Drops mic.
Ooh, Minister B.
Tell me about
I love it. Okay, so
back to you.
as you were speaking, I was thinking about the concept of a self-controlled life
Yeah.
not being fun. And it's interesting that you ended on that note that you did.
Yes.
Because especially we young people, many of us seem to think that practicing self-control is limiting your jive.
Yes.
But earlier when you used the word limits, and I was like, that's a word. It's like it's something that we have to come to terms with. That to live your best life, you should not be so pressed about limits because limits
Wait
to
for
tie
that.
to tie in with last month's topic. Sorry, limits keep you safe. If we, for example, with like racing now, driving your car on the road, if there were no speed limits, there would be more accidents, guys. This is the truth. No, it's facts. Because
Absolutely.
many of us are so bummed out about limits. We're like, we want our freedom. We want to do whatever you like. But what I've learned is that freedom is not in focusing on, oh, I want to do whatever, but it is in focusing on, oh, I want to do what is beneficial to me and not do what can harm me. Because if you're doing just about everything, that means you do both the one that benefits you and the
Yes.
one that hurts you.
Absolutely.
And where's the freedom in that?
Mhm.
And like you said, also, the thing with self control is not letting anything be the boss of you.
Yep.
So if you're someone that doesn't live a life governed by limits, you're not free because you become a slave to those things that you have refused to gain control over.
Ooh. Yes. And okay, so speaking of another like avenue of self control that I'll talk about is anger. Because that's another area that a lot of people don't deep how much control or how little control you can have because like letting anger get the best of you. Anger is like something that a lot of times when you even get so angry, you truly lose control of your and that's why the
It's
people
hard to be in
exactly
control and be angry.
yes, that's why people say don't say things when you're angry. If you're angry at that moment, just let
Take
it
deep
steam.
breaths.
Yeah, just let it go, and then when you've processed your emotions, you can now have the conversation because anger is a spirit, and anger is something that overtakes you, right? Because in general, the way with like drinking, for instance, you can have a drink, but you don't get drunk to the point where you're not in control of yourself. So same with anger. Anger is an emotion. It's something that there's even something called righteous anger. It's not like the worst thing in the world to be angry, but when you get angry past the point where you can control your emotions, you can control the things you say. Because words sticks and bones may break us, but like the things that you say, you can never take back, right? And words, for instance, are containers. So like you can say something that you can never take back. Something you said in the heat of the moment, something you said when you were angry, or even worse, maybe your anger is the type that leads you to not be violent and you hurt someone physically.
Exactly.
You get so that's obviously when you've lost control of yourself, of your emotions, of your calm, of your chill, of your
Yeah,
and
so
that
beloved is not self care.
no, it's really not.
Another angle of self control that we need to talk about is sex.
Do nothing without intention. She's
Sex, sexual desire.
mm-hmm.
We live in a very
Lust is
hypersexual world,
yes.
and till today, I haven't forgiven Sex and the City. No, they ruined. I don't want to be dramatic in the way I put it.
Yeah,
That
that
means
means you're
didn't
about
try.
to be dramatic.
No, I won't.
Okay.
They didn't try. They didn't try in the way they packaged it and made it look like, oh, you can be a Samantha. You can just go around anybody that catches your fancy. It's your body. You're in control. You can hook up with people and just do what you like.
That
Sex and the
is
City.
farther from I couldn't be farther from the
Yes,
truth.
it's a lie. Guys, it's a lie. It's a lie. You need that self control. Literally, there's a reason why, again, limits.
Yes.
God puts certain limits in place to protect you. It's not for Him. He doesn't say, if you like, you can run through all the men or women in your area code. That's your personal problem. It's not. It doesn't affect God. More rather, it affects you because just like she said about anger being a spirit,
OMG.
we all carry a spirit, yeah. And when you sleep with somebody, you take on the spirit that is doing them, the spirit that they are walking about it. There are problems. Yes, there are successes. I would hope. That's not always a bad thing, but there are wahala, their family issue, the spirits that they've
Oh, the
been
heritage.
doing their best to overcome. Yeah, it's facts. When you sleep with people up and down place,
Basically, it's not as frivolous.
it's
actually.
not, and it actually makes me sad that the media today, the world we live in today, they have brainwashed people and tried so hard, and might I say successfully, to deceive people into thinking that it's just sex. We're just enjoying ourselves. It doesn't matter. Hit it and quit it. You didn't quit it, though. You might think because you ghosted the person. Oh my god, I'm trying to not be unhinged.
Okay,
Sorry,
you're not
guys.
trying hard
You know who
enough.
I am anyway. You know you didn't love me.
Oh my
But yeah, you
god.
might think you've quit it after you hit it. But that spirit that the spirit you got entangled with when you were hitting it, it didn't quit you. It's still following you. All the issues, fix your face, the problems,
I'm
the
trying.
wahalas. Let's not even talk about STDs, everything. Listen, it's just
Well, I
not
did
worth
not
it.
expect this convo to
No,
go this way,
it
but
needs to be said.
yeah,
We're talking about
absolutely.
self care here.
Absolutely.
And if there's anything I want our listeners,
Yes.
watchers, whatever, to know, is that it's not just a carefree ride of I can do whatever I like. And in this case, you're talking about with your body,
Yes.
your own body.
Mm-hmm.
That
No, no,
is
no, no.
a temple.
You're
For
so
those
right.
of us that are, sanctified, your body is a temple. Literally, God dwells in you, and you think you can just go around and hop in and out of any bed that you feel like in the name of that you are in charge of yourself. No, no, loves. You need that self control. It will save you from so much drama you don't even know.
I was trying to keep like a straight,
Yeah.
unperturbed face, but I wasn't successful. But truly, I really, just like I said before, right, with the whole self care being deeper than candles and like foamy baths. You're so right because at the end of the day, taking care of yourself is spirit, body, and soul, your
Yes.
emotions, right?
Yes.
And it's so true when you don't have quote unquote high standards for what you allow in your life, your body. Do nothing without intention. And self care is actually a very intentional. In fact, life should be very intentional. So you're very, very right. Like we try to trivialize these things, but they actually are really deep. Who you sleep with, who you talk to, who you
Yes,
like,
share
who you share your space with, who you let into your life, who you unburden to. Do you get these are all things
who
that
you do business
who you
with.
do everything, literally
Yeah.
everything. So like everything should be as intentional a decision and as a thought as possible because we're in a very just go with the flow time, but going with the flow will cost you a lot more than being intentional and intent. You guys can call it whatever
And
you want to.
controlling yourself.
Exactly. So
So let's pivot, like we
pivot.
should say. Let's pivot to talk about how to cultivate self-control realistically, because we've covered why self-control is important, how self-control is self-care,
Yeah.
why it's did you get all of that? So
Yeah.
now, how do you do it? For those that are struggling with self-control, how have you cultivated better self-control
Okay,
in
well,
your life?
like you said, I feel like it truly is a fruit of the spirit of God living inside you because it's not easy. We as human beings, we are wired to be obsessed with free will, in quotes. We're wired to just do and want to do what we want when we want to do it. But however, that is I don't mean to sound like or whatever, but that's more of an animal instinct to just do what you want when you want to do it. As human beings, that's why we have the highest
Cognition.
yeah, you get so you can choose to do something and you can choose not to do it. And that's the point. Though it's hard, it's very possible and it's just something that you need to make that decision like I've been referring to a lot in our conversations off camera. The book I'm reading, Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Anyone go check it out, it's amazing. But it's a very practical self-help book on basically the concept of it is the little things add up to the big thing, right? So success is in habits every day. So for instance, people that have to go to rehab, people that have to attend Alcohol Anonymous. It's not because they're bad people or because you're any more
Better than
controlled
them.
than them. It's just simply because they let go.
Mhm.
You get they stopped putting limits and barriers to that drug or that thing that has now has them in a chokehold. So it's just all about setting those boundaries for yourself again intentionally. If you already have identified a weakness, then just know okay. So for instance, let's say your weakness is overeating. If you've had like maybe two slices of cake, you know that you don't need
I thought
like
you were gonna say bread. That's my weakness.
you child, call yourself out. If the table is on it, if you're on the table, then just yeah. If the shoe fits, wear it basically. But basically, literally in almost any area of life, right? At the end of the day, unless we're in actual denial, most of us know the areas where we need to exercise more self-control. You get so again, it has to do with a lot of confronting yourself on your own BS.
Yes.
Just call yourself out. It's hard, it's painful, it's awkward, it doesn't feel good, but there is nothing like telling yourself the truth. So, whatever it is you're struggling in, whether it's in eating, drinking, not working out enough, your relationships with someone, just if there's any area of your life that you know you could exercise more self control, just start with the little things. You don't have to make this big drastic change, but like basically just enable yourself from those things. So if it's alcohol and you need to stop drinking, you know it for your health, whatever it is, then start in the little ways that you can. Take away all the things that trigger or encourage you to drink.
I gotta chime in there. If it's okay.
Yeah.
You said tell yourself the truth. I also want to point out that the Bible says that the heart of man is deceitful or something like that.
Yes.
And that's just to say that we don't always tell ourselves the truth.
Yeah.
So again, it takes us back to
God's help.
God. God is the one that will expose you to yourself. Because we are best in making excuses for ourselves. We human beings, we know how to see the faults in other people, but when it comes to looking
We're
in the
great
mirror,
judges of other people's sins, but advocates of our own.
when it comes to looking in the mirror and telling yourself the truth about you,
Yes.
then we'd be like, oh, I don't really have a drinking problem. I was just sad that day. Oh no, I know I could have had a little less cake, but it was a stressful day. We will make excuses for ourselves die till thy kingdom comes. So if you're very serious about confronting your BS and being honest with yourself about where you need to change, where you need to practice more self control, honestly, go to God. God will expose you to you.
Yeah,
And then finally ask God for the grace to receive His correction. Because some of us, God will show us ourselves and we will still argue, we will still be like, no, God, no, it's not the way you think. It's it is what it is. You have to face it. So that
and speaking of criticism, because some people can, be the ones or be like the mouthpiece and be like, you confirm something that you already know. So be open to, as long as it's constructive criticism.
Yes. Or not someone just bashing you.
Yes, but basically you said it all. Just that when you wake up is your own morning, right? So don't beat yourself up too much if maybe you are still struggling with that thing that you're in denial about, right? Sometimes it can take people a minute before they're like, yeah, I need to chill, or I need to do more of this. I need to put up more boundaries and more barriers here.
Yes. So for me personally, when it came to pleasure seeking, and I'm talking of in food, in I don't like the fact that Mama watches this podcast.
You're grown, Mama.
I'm grown, but I'm
fine.
still my mommy's baby. So there are certain things I don't just feel comfortable just being like, this is me.
Well, the world was lost. Go on.
Yeah, but like anything, yeah, nah. But yeah, food, lust, turning up, all of that. Seeking for pleasure in these different things and avenues. I had to confront myself and tell myself the truth that um I have the tendency to either go overboard or not even vet properly if the channel or the person or the method that I'm using was me uh doing myself a disservice. Yeah, because with like for example
Absolutely.
loss, there are certain people that on a good day when nothing is doing you, you and that person should not even see yourself eye to eye.
Yo, come get her. I can't stand
You should not
him.
even see yourself eye to eye, but based on pleasure seeking, lack of self control, you just carry your two cocaine legs and be in that
Lack of
situation
self-control
that
will
does not
lower your
concern you.
standards. Trust me, it really will. It will lower your standards.
Laughed,
And
guys.
that's why no. You know what? I think we're done with this episode at
Okay,
this
so
point.
basically,
Lord
we
have
just
mercy.
need to go to God for help, discernment, strength to confront the areas where we need better self control. And then also, another thing that I saw that really spoke to me is that aside from asking God, God, where do I need to do better? Go to the Word. Because we all take it for granted, right? But the Word of God is a manual for living. So literally, when it comes to sexual urges, anger, not being able to control your tongue, falling into every type of temptation, as long as someone puts them. Speaking of temptation, sorry, you know, being tempted is not the issue. The issue is falling into it.
Absolutely.
Because the Lord was tempted, yes, he was, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He chose the high road, and so can we. Amen.
Okay then. Lovely.
But
So
yeah, basically, when it comes to falling into temptation, lust, drinking too much, doing one
when
too
it comes to
many,
not having self-control, basically.
having one too many plates of food, just doing the most, all in the
Yes.
name of I'm free to do what I like. You need the word to rearrange that mindset.
To reel you in, basically.
Yes, to pull you back in and to tell you this is what you do, this is what you don't do. Like she rightly said at the beginning, for some people, their own is that they don't even want to drink at all because when they have just a little sip of wine, they be acting crazy and they start twerking on their uncle.
Yeah, know who you are.
Yeah, so
it's
for
important.
somebody like that, yes, don't drink. You don't want to be twerking on your uncle. Stay away from the wine. But for others,
Oh my goodness.
who can handle their wine, but the issue is maybe too many
Anger
glasses.
or, yeah.
Then if 2 glasses is your threshold, stop there. You don't need 4 just to prove that you're
Yeah,
best
tell
for
yourself
having
the
fun.
truth. Know your patterns.
Yeah.
No, yeah, just we should all obviously introspect and study ourselves, right? So
Absolutely.
just know who you are, know the things that are your weak places, and also know and understand your calling, what you like. You get there are a lot of people that their ministry is their mouth, so you need to be
Guard it.
careful, guard it. And there are people that they like maybe the line of profession they're into, they absolutely need to be as disciplined as possible. Athletes, pilots,
Yes.
pastors, people.
And
So-
another last thing I need to I feel like I need to say before we wrap it up,
yeah.
is that to be self-controlled, you should walk in love because um, we're all created to love and be loved. And if you're a spiritual person like we are, the the law, the word of God, whatever you want to call it, it tells us that we need to love one another because God has called us to love, right? So when you actually dip it, most of the things we do,
Yeah.
if you do things out of love, you are within those limits that God has given us on how to act and how not to act. But when you start to operate from a place of selfishness, from a place of then you will find yourself doing things that are outside those limits. E.g., even like we said, drinking. If you are having a drink and you're just doing it because you want to forget your worries or your stress and you just want to let everything behind, you'll have too much. And most people, when they drink too much, they get abrasive, insulting, they might end up in a fight, you get, and that affects and hurts people around you. Or for those of us that are married and don't know how to respect our marital vows, you now drink and you go and embarrass your spouse outside. Do better. But anyway, no, it's not a judging matter. It's fact.
She came here.
It's part of self-control. If you're going to go and take vows with somebody and say, "Oh, I vow to love you," blah blah blah, then you have to stick to it. You can't throw your vows away and then when they ask you, "Oh, why did you do your wife or your husband?" and say, "Oh, I was depressed. Oh, I was in a mood. Oh, I wasn't thinking." No, that's the whole point. That self-control means being called to a higher level of responsibility, both to God and to other people,
and
as well
yourself.
as yourself. So, if you, for example, are married, self-control determines that when you go out, you deal with members of the, well, whoever it is that attracts you, whether it is the opposite sex or you're a same-sex type person, you deal with whoever it is that attracts you in the most respectful way, bearing your partner in mind. Do you get? So you don't go out and just let your guard down with, for example, if you're a man who's attracted to women, you don't go out and just let your guard down with every woman that comes your way. No, because you're married, so you have to control yourself. Self-control, guys.
Self-respect
Don't
and
forget about.
integrity.
But yeah, it's walking in love. When you think about people, when you say, "Oh, if I do this thing, is it going to hurt this person, or will it make them feel better?
Yeah.
Will it make them feel good about me
Yeah.
as a person who is part of their life?
Yeah.
Am I adding to this person or am I taking from them when I do this thing?"
Absolutely.
That is a very, very good way to cultivate self control, because when you think about others and you are genuinely trying to live your life in a way that does not offend or affect the people around you, the people you love, the people you are responsible to and for the parents in the house, then it's just, you're just going to be walking with, like we said, those limits. You'll be living with limits. And as human beings, we have what's the word? Bastardized the word limit. But trust me, limits are a good thing when they are applied the right way and in the right circumstances. And that's what I wanted to say.
Alrighty then, go on. Listen. So, on that note, we're going to end today's episode on that very, very deep note that I need to do some dishes on. And thank you.
It's me smiling like I did shout.
I know, right? You are so wild. You're huge. But anyway, thank you guys again for coming along our episode 3. And please just leave us messages in the comments. Let us know more of the stuff you want us to talk about. Just let us know how you feel, your journey, and in self-control, and just some of these other things. And please be at rest, no matter what you're doing. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, we love you. Kisses. Bye. Go out there and be self-controlled. Take care of yourselves, my beloved.